Hello, Ray? Is this thing on? Hello, Marilyn. Hi from California. It's not windy here. Hi, Karen. Woo woo. Hi, Malin. Good evening to you. How are you guys? So I sewed my buttons on. I'm pretty happy with them. They look pretty good. Look at how far over to the seam is. I mean, there's the center front right here, this little crease. That's the original basting center front line. But super cute. Yeah. I'm letting go of the placket being upside down. The buttonholes, I mean. Oh, now I know. I'm going to make a note in that pattern. Make sure you do the buttonholes on the other side that they're marked. So, thanks, Ray. Thanks for telling me that. Love how you're all hello with a question mark. It was so funny. This fabric's kind of crazy on the screen. And you know, when I put them on, I was like, I kind of like pinned just the top and put them on. And the fabric is super lightweight. Very cool, very shiny. Yeah, the buttons. Are they really shiny? Yeah, they kind of are, huh? They're vintage for sure. I even wove the back of them. So I created a little shank there. Sorry, I have the autofocus off. The top one won't stay like this though. It's sewn in horizontal, but it keeps going right like that. So, but yeah. Anyway, I did pin them and tried them on. And I will say, because of the lightweight nature of the fabric, there's definitely some revealing contours of my body through them. So I think what I would do is make them even looser and do the elastic back option, or just make an elastic top, maybe, you know, they're not tight, but it's just like that skimming nature kind of makes, you know, I don't have a skimming nature body anymore. So, oh, awesome, Eliza. How was your class? A rebel button. Hi, Louise. Good evening to you, too. So let's get to it. I know some of you, it's late. What are these? This is the carriers, right? Or the belt loops. And then here we have my homemade cuffs. I'm going to sew the waistband today, different than I always do. I always sew the waistband from the inside of the garment to the outside and finish it. But today I'm going to bind the inside and then finish it that way. So I think that'll be kind of a fun change. You guys haven't seen me do that, I don't think. So, and that's actually a really great way to do a waistband if you're a little nervous about getting that top stitching just spot on. You don't even have to bind it. You can just serge it or zigzag the edge. I would definitely finish that edge though. So, all right, so here's my fronts, obviously. It's the inside, the contrast pockets. And then here's my backs. It's probably really hard to see the detail of these. Hi, Cindy. How's it going? Cindy's local to me. We're social distancing, Cindy. You can't really see the definition, but here's my back pockets right here, and then my yoke right there. And these are ready to go as well. So let's do our flat filled seam. Here's my waistband. Oh, I ended up obviously not ironing this fabric. I ended up switching this out from that red linen. I was having some qualms about that. I didn't think it was the greatest choice. It would work, especially if I were using fusible interfacing, but you know how I feel about fusible interfacing. I don't use it very much. So I just have this like pop linen here. And I think that even though this isn't pre-washed, that's going to be better than the linen. Are you staying busy, Cindy? Are you weaving up a storm? Or are you sewing masks? What are you up to? Okay, so flat filled seam. How do we do this again, you guys? We do the this, don't you hate that when that happens? I just caught one thread on my thread take up lever. Let's see if I can kind of smooth it out. I did serge my, oh, there we go. That's not bad. That looks a little better, huh? My serging is a little bit meh on this garment. But, you know. Hi, Joan. Well, welcome. Welcome, welcome. What can I tell you about this channel? Everyone's super nice here. They all, you know, are sewists of varying degrees and sizes. So there's a lot of variety. And typically I sew clothing, but sometimes bags and other things. And masks. Hi, Walter. Usually, my schedule's been a little bit weird this year, but usually we cut something out on a Wednesday. We sew part 1 on Thursday and part 2 on Saturday. We ended up, we've been a little off. I needed a little bit of a looser schedule when the quarantine happened. I just need to be more flexible. So, let's see. We cut these out on Saturday. Sewed part 1 yesterday, part 2 today. Was supposed to be the Scout tee today. So sorry about that if you're tuning in for that. But we'll be cutting out the Scout tee on Saturday. So, you're weaving up a storm, Cindy? Oh, ooh, your towels are right over there. I love your towels. Ray, you're so sweet. How are you doing, Walter? Nice to see you. You're in Montana? I knew that, didn't I? It doesn't matter, but, you know. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see. So, Joan, just so you know, I am a pretty good sewist, I think, if I say so myself. But I'm also not a stickler for rules and stuff like that. I will do what I want and when I want. I'm not paid by anyone, so I feel like I can do that. And I'm a trained pattern drafter, so I have a lot of respect for all the pattern drafters out there, making all these patterns for all the home sewists out there. And yeah, sometimes I haven't done a certain technique lots of times, but I'm pretty good at figuring it out or failing a few times, so you don't have to. So that's what I can offer. I'm going to trim this so that it's a little more smooth. You guys, why didn't I buy a bunch of new scissors? If you knew how many small pairs of scissors in this size were sitting here on a cart next to me, you would do the massive eye roll thing. It's just because, you know, like, it's hard to throw them away, and a lot of them aren't really sharpenable. These are, and these are awesome. I got these from Brooke, but I dropped them or something. Something happened to them, so, you know, which is, I'm a klutz in the highest degree. You should be working, Walter. Take a break and hang out with us. All right, so the flat felled seam, I want to do that wrong sides together. I feel like this isn't like a French seam, though, right? Wrong side, and then I hem it over the other side. I just always forget the, I always forget which ones. All right, well, anyway, this is how I'm going to do it. Basically, when you're flat fell, you're hemming a seam over the other. It's going to be a little tricky. There's quite a bit of ease between the knee notches of these Morgan jeans. So let me find my notches. My fabric's getting a little bit tired here. Like I said, it's pretty lightweight. Here's my notch. And so a lot of jeans patterns, what do you guys think? Think that's a notch right there? It kind of looks like a notch. Let's see. What the heck's that? All right. Okay, so yeah, that is the notch right there. That's a boo-boo. So yeah, a lot of jeans will have you sew, at least with closet case especially, they sew up to from the hem to this little knee notch here. And then you'll need to ease between the one knee notch to the other knee notch because of the way that the pattern is constructed. And that's actually kind of common. You don't see a lot of these kinds of techniques in some patterns, and it's because they skip it, because they probably think that it's a little, it's just an extra step people might skip anyway, and they want it to be as easy as possible. Sydney, hi, how's it going? So you guys, I looked into the channel membership thing, and Alicia actually confirmed something for me. So it's kind of like Twitch Prime subscriptions, or Twitch subscriptions. I shouldn't say Prime, that's an Amazon thing. But so basically you would get like a little badge next to your name. So, you know, people would know that you subscribe to me monetarily. And YouTube takes 30%. I'll just tell you all the little dirty details. And then I think eventually we can have custom emotes in the chat and stuff like that, so we can design little emoji and stuff to have. You can't use those emoji everywhere in the world. You can only use it in the chat. I'll tell you that right now, because there's a few I have subscribed to and I wish I could use them everywhere, you know. So I'm not sure yet if I'm going to do that. I know I definitely need to figure out the monetization thing that is the most affordable for everyone, so I can keep doing this, because I'm paying for my space out of my money right now. And I like Patreon. I'm telling you all this because I want to hear what you guys think, whether you give me money or you don't. I want to hear your feedback. I want to hear what you think when you see people ask for things like this. On Patreon, I can actually give you videos and patterns and what else have I given? Discounts, things like that. I can actually give you specifically as a Patreon patron things that are only for you. I don't see a way to do that on the YouTube channel membership thing, and so I feel kind of like, I want to be able to give you guys something specifically. I know for some people they're like, yeah, you don't have to do that, your content's enough, but at the same time, I'm going to be generating some of those patterns anyway, so, you know, let me know. Like for me in my world, I'm really used to paying people for their content because I want to keep seeing them and I want to support them. But at the same time, I know that's kind of a foreign concept for a lot of folks. So, you know. Hi, Sandy. How's it going? If you measure from the back seam to the edge of the back pocket, is it exactly the same? I sewed my first pair of jeans recently, and it was obviously they were different. Which back seam, Sandy? Are you talking about the center back seam, or the yoke seam, or the side seam, or the waist seam? I mean, these are, this pattern is symmetrical. You cut and mark them out symmetrically. And what I'm asking you guys all about with that financial stuff, you don't have to tell me in the chat. You can email me at sosolive@gmail.com. You can comment in the YouTube video, which is public, or message me on Instagram, whatever you want. I'm not judging at all. You guys know how I feel about this. So, yeah, it just looks different because of the top stitching, Sandy. Yeah, because right now, if I measure, here's my seam, and here's my top stitching. So it does have that appearance of being asymmetrical, and that's just how things are. The center seam, yeah, they should be the same. You could have just gotten your pocket moved, or it's just an optical illusion and it's perfect. Hi, Nancy. How's it going? Hello, Andy. How's it going? Good to see you guys. Let's check something now. What else was I saying? Anyway. All right, let's do our flat felt seam. I'm going to do it back over front, right? So this is going to be a little tricky because there's this ease between here, but I am confident. Have I ever not been confident? I have. I think yesterday, right? Okay, Malin, yeah. Yeah, and see, I think that's the thing is like a lot of these types of programs are directed towards a very certain audience, and we are not that audience. You know what I mean? Ah, Nancy. When did I unthread my machine? Things I dislike most doing in front of my chat. Threading my machine. You know? Oh my gosh, do you see that? Performance threading, not my strong suit. All right, we're gonna sew this here. So I will say that this is only a 5/8 inch seam allowance, and I think 3/4 is a little bit better for flat felt. It gives you a little bit easier of a time hemming it. I accidentally started serging my inseam here and stopped. So when I do that 5/8 inch seam allowance, this is the, I think this is the front right here. Yes, this is the front. So then we will trim this front and then and then hem the back over it like that. So it's kind of the flat fill. We've been kind of into flat fill, it seems, lately. I think 5/8 is going to be fine because this fabric is so manipulative. Like, it's really easy to manipulate. It's not manipulative, but it's, yeah. Yes, Karen, I am. We don't need no stinking badges. I think I fixed a couple things because, and I don't know if you guys want me to shout you out when you do things for me. I know how I am. I'm a little bit on the down low when I definitely, you know, do things. But, like, my Patreon subscriptions weren't popping up in chat anymore, and I don't know why. I'm hoping I fixed that today. If I'm not live, it won't pop up in the chat, just so you know. And there are other things that, like, we don't need to do the channel membership thing. I can do it, but I just feel like having all these different things is just, it's like too much, you know? It's too confusing. All right, so I'm getting my crotch seam lined up. So if you'll remember, I offset the top stitching, so the front top stitching and the back top stitching will be off from each other at that center crotch seam when it lines up, so that the thicknesses are away from each other. Ooh, Malin! Sydney, a badge. Like next to Louise's name, to the left of her L, there would be a little symbol indicating that she was a, I don't know what it's called. Is it like a channel member or channel subscriber? It's confusing because on Twitch, which is another live streaming platform if you don't know, they call subscribers people who give them money. And followers are the people who, like, follow their stream and then they get notified when they go live, right? And it's the opposite on YouTube. Why did they do that? So annoying, right? All right, so hopefully I put these pins on the wrong side. That wasn't hard at all to ease that in, by the way. It'll be a little different if you're sewing these in denim. I know that, but there's a lot of ease in that area, and that's mostly why they do that. I hate it when I use I like replace words with this, that, and thing. But what I mean to say is the reason there is this space here that you need to ease one to the other, there's a few reasons. One of them is the fact that there's so much stretch right here on the fabric because it's on the bias, you know, it's like at that angle there. So it stabilizes that inseam from getting like baggy butt and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly, Sydney. Yeah. Yeah, right, Walter? See, that's what I'm wondering. I just want to do things that are convenient and success. I may remonetize YouTube once I figure out a way that I like. I don't know. I hate even thinking about this stuff, but I have to be honest about it. If I'm paying as much as I am for my studio and I'm spending most of my time doing this, I have to be honest about it. It's what I would tell someone else. All right, so now I'm trimming. Let's hope I'm trimming the correct one. Yeah. So I am trimming the front side of this seam allowance, not the back. And I can tell you that I'm about to cut it by accident. So I think what I'm going to do is open it up like this. And I'm going to get better scissors. Here we go. You do a flat bump. That emote, Eliza, is super cute. What is that? I did flat bum adjustment. Do I extend the grain line from the bottom or from the top after taking out a wedge from the top? What's the flat bum adjustment? Is that your grain line should be perpendicular to your hem. You shouldn't change your grain line. Just keep the grain line that was already there. I think that's the best advice I can give. Eliza, what did I say about saggy butt? I feel like one of the main reasons that you, on this pair of pants, I know you're going to make these, right, Eliza? On this pants pattern, the front and the back are different between the knees. There are notches right here on the knees. One of them, and I can't tell right now which one it is. I feel like maybe it's the front that is smaller than the back between there, and you have to ease one to the other when you sew between those two notches, right? And I think partly that's because they do that because there's so much fabric, right, especially across the back, right here, this back pieces, and this is jutting out, and this is all in the bias of the grain at this point, and it can get kind of saggy if you don't kind of hem it in a little bit. Not hem as in hemming your pants, but as in like kind of constrain it and give it a little bit more structure. So by easing the back to the front and making it a little bit tighter, it kind of prevents that and stabilizes it. That's my theory. Yeah. Oh, it's an elbow bump. Oh, that's cute. Do they have like temporary emotes right now or new ones? That's pretty cute. How's it going, Rachel? Yes, they do, Karen. If you guys sign up for the Closet Case email newsletter, they have a packet of... I should have mentioned that a long time ago. We usually talk about it, and I have a copy of it, and sometimes I pull it out during the stream so I can kind of show you what's in it. There are lots of adjustments in there for different types of fit issues. Doing this on camera, not one of my favorite things either because it's so awkward sitting here at my machine. I think to ensure success, which is one of my mottos, I would probably press the seam open with the iron to get it away from itself. I'm trying to make it very, oh God, do I even say that out loud? I'm trying to make a nice straight line and make it at least half the amount of the other seam allowance. So that it'll hem over it very nicely. There's that weird notch I had in the fabric, so we got that nice and enclosed. Let me finish this and I'll look at chat. I hope Megan's doing okay. We haven't seen her for a few days. Well, I don't know the flat butt adjustment, but someone in chat is doing that. I think it's Karen, so she might have that. And if you, Walter, if you look at the Closet Case Patterns website, I'm assuming you're male and you're thinking about it for men's pants, but I think the adjustment's the same. So if you go and sign up for their newsletter, there is a jeans fitting packet you can download, and there's lots of tips on there in there. So yeah, right, Walter? That's what I think too. I'm definitely gonna focus more on my patterns, but I need more time to do that. If you are trying to finish a few M words to send out so I can get back to making fun things, I am right there with you, lady. All the things I don't... Ray, you are so funny. Ooh, yeah, Karen. Shake it, baby. I'm just going to trim a few of these little annoying threads off while we talk about flat butts. I don't have flat butt. You know what's really funny is today when I was getting dressed, like I've told you guys, I have this funny thing where like everything pools at my back, right? I think this is a lot of things. I definitely have a belly. It could be that, but when I take that out of the quotient and I just look at the back, the belly is not actually making that happen, right? So I started trying to think out of the box, and the funny thing about me, you guys, is that I'm a toe walker. I've walked on my toes since I was a child. All kinds of doctors commented on it, and I've even had one say I might have like a not a mental issue, but it is really common to see a certain type of person walking on their toes, you know. it's just, I have Achilles tendons that aren't straight. They're bent. And I've been a runner for years, so I've definitely, you know, learned to deal with it, right? And I think, like, my calves are really nicely developed because I've been a toe walker all my life. I wear clogs all the time, so I always wear something with the heel because that helps me, you know? And I recently, like this past fall, was thinking, you know what? I'll bet this is part of the reason I have this weird fabric pulling at my center back, because the way my butt, the muscles are developed, it's like I'm more developed in a funny way because of that, you know? So, and it was this morning when I was getting dressed, the word side saddle popped up in my head. I'm like, yeah, I've got side saddles, you know, like instead of love handles, side saddles. I'm gonna iron this. You guys are kind of making me laugh today a lot. What? Oh, your class starts. Just keep trying to keep you like. Why, right? Eliza, are they like not busy enough? Like, what's going on? Why can't I see the chat from here anymore? All right. Can you see how lightweight this fabric is? I'm probably only going to press it that way. I'm not going to do the other part, but that's what we're going to do. We're just going to turn it under. You could use from either side. The denim, if you're doing denim, you might not have to do this because denim is so stiff. Sometimes you don't need to really iron it. Just, you know, it's non-stretch denim, so you may find it helpful. Oh, Nancy, I don't know if you caught the beginning, but I tried these on a little bit. I pinned them, and you can see every little contour on me. I need a tummy panel and more. Maybe because I have a lopsided tummy panel now because I removed it on one side. All right. Oh, I have something to ask you guys. Like I accidentally searched my hem. Yeah, you know, could have done a little better on the serging this time. Okay. Where's my mouse? Nope. That's the wrong machine. That was my binding machine. Or something. Oh, they're graduating. It's so exciting. The Morgan jeans, Joan? Ooh, that's a good question. I used to be so good about telling you guys what sizes. And you know, right now this one goes up to a 39-inch waist and a 48-inch hip. But they have been expanding their sizing if you're looking for something curvier, and I think that is on the way. So, club pants. She wants me to go to the club, Eliza. I've been to a club once in my life. What's that? Okay, so this is the inside. Let's just look it over. I never, you know me, I'm kind of cavalier. Looks pretty good though. All right, so my one favor, you guys, you know how I've told you guys that liking doesn't help videos? It does. I didn't know that. I was watching a Creator Academy video by YouTube today. So likes and comments actually do help your algorithm. So if you guys can just, anytime you feel like it, hit the little thumbs up. I hate to ask that, but, you know, it helps the algorithm. And comments as well. So I don't know if they consider chat comments or if it's just the comments afterward. So if you want, you can do both. Even if you just say, nice vid. I get those sometimes and I delete them because I can tell they're people advertising. All right, so here we are. Here's my pants. This is the inseam. This is the out seam, the side seam of one leg. And this is the back and this is the front. And I'm hemming it over onto the front side. I'm just going to edge stitch it down. That's all a flat felled seam is. It's kind of a easier way to do a French seam, because you don't run the risk of the threads poking out of the seam. So I'm just gonna freestyle it, and this is why I really wanted to try and get that little piece in here cut nice, because I can use it to turn my hem over on it, and it really helps. I mean, look at how, you know, easy that is. All the threads from my fabric are kind of the hardest part about this. This also will reinforce your inseam. There's a lot of friction there from our legs when we're walking and whatnot. And so that does help reinforce it. Makes it nice and flat, even though it is a little bit of a heavier seam, and which is also a little more comfortable than having your seam allowance poking out. You don't have to do a flat felt seam. I don't even think it's in the instructions. It's just something we've been liking doing, and everyone voted for that when we cut it out, that I would overlock or serge pieces and then flat fill the inseam. So I don't know, Sydney. I can't tell, because if I look at analytics for a video, it will say, you know, 224 comments, and I'm like, oh, they're considering the chat. But I don't know if that is what works for the algorithm as well. You know, it would be good to know. Okay, so here I am at the rise juncture. Just be a little careful. Trying to get all that in there. It's a little thicker. And you can see now that my top stitching, so here's the seam right here. I'm a little bit off, but here's the top stitching and here's the top stitching, so they're kind of offset, so that I can have a less bulky juncture there. So yeah, even dislikes can count. I definitely leave those when something is misleading. Okay, almost there. This fabric's pretty easy to sew with, even though it's pretty open weave and thready. It's such a nice drape. I actually think it would make a nice top or dress, this kind of fabric. I know it's a little crazy, but I got it at Hearts too last summer. All right, so there we go. There's my flat fell seam, and on the inside it looks like this, which used to mystify me when I would buy pants and see that. I'm like, I don't know what's happening there. You know, look at the nice, you know, rise. Look at that. It's nice and flat, low profile. This is definitely a spot that, you know, irritates a lot of people, especially if you ever hop on your bike, even if you're going on a short jaunt. That spot can be kind of irritating. All right. So now we're going to do the side seams. Oh my God, my serging is so weird. You think so, H. Crow? Nice to see you. Yes, exactly, Louise. What they're trying to do is connect. So the same goes for you guys. If you want to see more of the same of a video, like videos you watch whenever, whoever you're watching, I think it helps you get suggested better and better videos. That's the theory, right? Everyone's suspicious of these algorithms for really good reason, though. And I'm not begging you guys to do that. So, you know, it's just something, like, for me, the more I can increase the audience, the better. And it might lead to something like a sponsorship or something like that, which helps all of us because we get more variety of sewing things, not just the things I'm picking out or whoever else is picking out, you know? Like I said before, if you know of a fabric store or a pattern company and you would like to see that item sewn, tell them to send it to us and sew it. I send it back. I don't keep it, you know, so it's not like they're not gonna, and then it's free, right? I definitely can't get people to pay me to do it, so I might as well get a more variety of things to sew for you guys, you know? You don't have to just sew the stuff that's my style, or see me sew the stuff that's my style, you know? Like, I wouldn't do the maternity clothes, and that's why I told that gal, if you know of anybody, I would love to sew. I've never sewn maternity clothes, I don't think. Pretty sure. I've done lots of kids, though. Yeah, Nancy. Barbara, good morning. How's it going? Oh, you got a fabric delivery? Sydney, I'm kind of jealous. I have to tell you guys, like, I know that I'm saying that I have all this extra fabric and that's what I'm donating for the masks. But you guys, I'm still dipping in a little bit to my stash so that there's a little bit of variety. My fabric stash is getting pretty slim right now. It is getting down to only quiltable pieces. And that's, I'm not much of a quilter. We all know that. I'm playing around with it, but it's definitely not my main gig, right? I was going to see if my fabric store is open, but that makes me obviously a little nervous, and I'm getting a little nervous. Like, I haven't been, with the whole quarantine thing, I'm definitely wary and concerned, but I haven't been necessarily a ton worried. Because my family's really practicing all of the recommended things. When we go anywhere, which is really, really, really rare, we wear masks and gloves. I have barely been anywhere. And, you know, my daughter was saying that even at the store, some of the workers aren't wearing masks. And here in California, that is the rule. And I'm getting real worried because things are getting a little bit calmer. And I think for some places, it's getting calmer. I'm worried people are going to start now, okay, everything's okay, and we're going to have this huge surge, and our county hasn't been hit that bad. I think partly it's because we're not doing a lot of testing, but, you know, it's like, oh, I want things to go back to normal, right? So, it's in the corner of, yeah, that's smart, Louise. That's what we do. All our groceries are in the garage right now. Oh, wow, fabric for masks. Oh. Nice, Sydney. You know, yeah, Walter, you're absolutely right. I'm trying to put together one this week on how to print PDFs, and I want to use 3 different companies. What do you guys think? I'm going to use pdfplotting.com, Pattern Z, and the Fold Line. Is there another major US PDF printer I could highlight? I've never used Pattern Z, and I've never used the Fold Line to print PDFs. The Fold Line, though, is UK based. So is Pattern Z, but Pattern Z has a US option as well. And that's why I was thinking that having, 2 options for the UK and 2 options, or not the UK, but Europe, and 2 for the US. And then, yeah, I'm starting to make a list of things. So thanks for the reminder, Walter. That's great. Ooh, Louise, the suspense. Oh, I'm so sorry, Rachel. Yeah, exactly. Right, Malin? Yeah. Yeah. Your house with all of agency. Oh. Yeah. Oh, you can get a local from Costco. Okay, so we're making pants. My daughter is like, she would like to get a job, and some places are hiring right now, but because she's pretty worried, like she's gonna get stuck at home with us forever now. because she's graduating, and people are gonna need those jobs, and she's not gonna be at the front of the line. She understands that, you know. Oh, really, Rachel? That's cool. All right, so I think you're right, Nancy. Kind of the point of the no return with the whole like sewing the side seams thing. All right, so let's top stitch these down. And I'm only going to I'm going to kind of do it the traditional way so I can feel the bottom of my pocket bag right here. See right there? So I'm going to go to there. I have been known to do the entire side seam. It's possible. It's not as horrendous as you would think, but it's not easy. I mean, it's not like a piece of cake, you know. It just gets smaller and smaller, but it's not that bad. And then I kind of mimic a bar tack by just kind of sewing back and forth like this. I am fine with that. I want a fabric for a top to go with these pants for this. I want the Scout to go with these. Like someone said, hey, you have an outfit if you do both. All right. Looking like pants. What do you know? Should we do the cuffs or the waistband next? What do you guys think? Do one for each, make them smaller vids. You think so? You might be not be wrong on that. I think we are gonna see rebounds too, Nancy. Oh, really, Barbara? We just used Instacart for the first time yesterday, and my husband loved it because they texted him from the aisle and sent him a picture of what was on there. So. The penny raglan. Who's that by, Barbara? I had to stop doing this. Sometimes, like, this is me in the morning. I will, on a day I'm streaming and I'm getting the cameras ready, and I turned them on, and I had some funny things. Like, a couple of them weren't connecting. It's always like that. But this is me every time I turn it on. I'm just sitting there, and I look so awful. Like, what am I doing? Do I do that in a video? Oh, man. Who does, Rachel? Fabric Mart? Oh, Grain Line and the penny raglan. What? I've never heard of that. Have I heard of that? Okay, here's my cuffs. I'm going to just do the cuffs because that's kind of a fun thing to do. All right, so we have our back cuff. I kind of get methodical with these things when they're really similar. Here's my front cuff. And where did I put the notch on these? Did I put it towards the inseam? Okay, so this is towards these are like this, right? So this one goes together, and this is the inseam. And this one goes together because that's the inseam. And then I should have two that look different. Yep. Okay. All right. So I'm going to do my... Did I do half-inch seams, you guys? Or no, I just did the same. That's right. Doesn't my stitch length looks a little long? And this is the other one, right? Yep. Okay. Alright, and now we're going to do the other one. You just noticed it this morning. Alright, so now we have... Okay, this is my edge with the notch, and this is my edge with the notch. Yep, and this is my inseam, and the back is on top. I gotta really be, you know, intentional. All right, so then we're gonna put, this is the inseam, and then this is the back, like this. So this one goes here. Anytime I'm doing these pattern pieces that are super methodical, I just, you know, or super similar, I just keep it really methodical. Oh, I want to do this right sides out. What am I thinking? Now I'm confused. This is from my local fabric store, Louise. I might be able to find the information on it. I think I had still a little bit of it. Let me see. I can see if there's some on the selvage, you know? It's pretty cool, isn't it? And it's not, you're not really seeing really there's a lot of like little bit of texture in there, and I love the overlapping transparency of it. It was a fat quarter, so when I'm there, I often will pick up a bunch of fat quarters. I kind of look at my shelf to see what fabrics I'm missing. They're just handy to have. They're fun to buy, and I think they always have like a buy 4 get 1 free type of thing going on. So why not? I don't know, why isn't there a double notch back there? Who made that pattern, you know? It was me, just in case you're wondering. Ooh, what are you making from your cotton and lycra, Rachel? Yeah, we need to start with the summer projects, you guys. All right, so to open the seam or not to open the seam. Now we've top stitched this one towards the back, right? So technically we want to push it towards the back. So then I'm going to push this seam the other way just to kind of reduce the bulk. And there we go. Ah, I got the right one. Perfect. So now this one, all I need to do is make sure I line up the notched edge with the other one. And this is an add-on that I did for the Morgans. I kind of wanted more of like a cropped version. I can cuff them, and if I really don't like the cuffs, I can just, you know, cut them off and hem them, you know. It's not a big deal. It's an experiment. I wish I was pinning from this side, because that's the side I'm going to sew. I am. Okay, good. All right, so let's do that. Well, there's a double notch on that one. I'm so hard on myself. Cool, Rachel. Nice. So the other one. And I'm trying to decide if I want to turn down a hem on the cuff, or do I want to serge it and just top stitch it, because either is an option. Okay, let's go iron these. Should we edge stitch? This is the edge that's gonna show. So basically what happens is, here's my cuff, and then when it's like, there'll be, the cuff will be on the inside like this. And then when I cuff my pants, you know, you're going to see it like that. So I might just edge stitch all through the thicknesses. So let's just iron it and see what we think. Julia, long time no see. I've never made a romper slash jumpsuit in this era. You know what I mean? I haven't. I think I have one. But, yeah, I haven't really decided on one. I am so curvy that I feel like I would look, I don't know. I kind of like, I think it's the Zadie I'm liking. Which one are you thinking about? We should ask Hearts Fabric and see if they would send us one. Just kind of pressing that seam down for now, even though it's going to go up. Are you done with your mask making, Julia? How's it going? You were on a tear. Okay. So now remember, it's going to cuff like this. So we kind of want to make sure really that we're seeing a little bit of our cuff so that we're not getting the fabric showing. In some ways it's not too big of a deal because if it does, it's going to, no, I'm not explaining this well, but I'll just show you in a second. So let's see here. So say this is cuffed like this, right? This is how they're going to be. But if you did have a little bit of this fabric showing, it's not the end of the world because look, it blends in with your fabric that it's against. So don't sweat it. So now, do I want to just turn this under and stitch it down? I really like a clean finish. That's kind of my way of thinking. It's a little far to do it, like it's pretty far in there, but it's a nice clean finish. Otherwise you can serge this edge and then just top stitch it down. You don't have to worry about folding and stuff. So I guess what I could do as a little gift to myself is I could actually fold this under, like this. That would help a little bit, right? I can't see the chat very well, sorry guys. It's so far away. Zadie time. You just bought it 10 minutes ago? Wow. Right, Malin? That's exactly the 12-year-old thing. I think I was, 16. Yeah, that's okay, Julia. I mean, that's what counts, right? Doing what they need. I like the Zadie because you could even make the top in a different fabric and then it won't look like a jumpsuit. Oh, Malin. Megan, I was just wondering about you. How are you? I see you haven't, gotten rid of any of your kids. They driving you crazy still? Alright. I should have probably put my salami inside that so that it wouldn't be so hard to iron, but I'm kind of trying to look at the chat at the same time. Angela, hello. Karen, I feel like a lot of companies, when they release a pattern, do a short-term partnership with one of the printers. I see it a lot, and But yeah, I don't think it's like a regular thing, you know? Really want to trim that. But yeah, I know what you mean. Okay. It's funny because, you know, when I go on Twitch to watch something, like put it on in the background, I'm noticing that now that there's like tons of people available for watching, I'm hardly seeing any streamers streaming. I'm wondering why that is, you know? Wait, I'm doing the opposite of what I said, aren't I? No. No, I am. I'm doing the opposite of what I said. I kind of want to pull this back a little bit and see a little bit of my cuff. I kind of enjoy making those short videos like Walter was saying too. I don't highly edit them, and I hope that's okay. Because I just don't have the time for that. I applied to be a contributor on something recently, and I asked if video format was okay for the how-to, and they were like, yeah, that's fine. The video just needs to be 5 minutes. I was like, oh yeah, no problem. I'm known for making short videos. They're only, you know, 2 to 3 hours long, but hey. That's 5 minutes, right? I was like, okay, that must be geared towards simple projects or maybe beginning. And it's a Christmas item. Wait, am I pressing this the correct way? This is this side. Yeah, I think I am then. This one should be going this way. Ooh, that's cool, Megan. You ordered 2 needle sharp boxes. I miss my needle sharp box a lot. I think it's great. It would be the perfect thing right now too. Okay, we're ready to sew these. Now I can see you guys. I know, it is so nice to see everyone, huh, Ray? Christy almost joined recently, but she couldn't, and I was like, oh, it would have been nice to see Christy. Oof, Megan. Yeah, like, I am trying to support all of our farmers right now. It is hard to learn something in 5 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to do it like this. So if you have a home machine and you have a free arm, and a free arm meaning you don't have it flush with your table and the bed of your machine is just narrow, you know, like this. Some of them have the snap-on table that you can put on there to make a bigger bed like this has. But if your machine sits in a table that's flush, but you can raise it up, what I recommend is doing that and getting your free arm back and then turning this inside out so that you can put this around the free arm like this and then just stitch that. It's a easy peasy thing to do compared to what I'm about to do, because mine's flat and I don't have that option. What I do is I always keep the garment above and I sew from the inside, and I just try not to do any twisting. So I'm going to pin it in a few places, and I just kind of pin it up high just to kind of prevent any slipping. So that's my 2 cents on that. Anytime you're doing like sleeve hems, especially if the sleeve hem is really tall, like you have a 2-inch wide one, that helps. The free arm is kind of nice. You know, you don't get that on a serger or on an industrial. So, yeah. Yeah, right, Megan? According to Nancy, I have to go clubbing now. This is my inseam, so I'm going to start there. Keep your garment up on the table so it's not pulling, because this is a little bit fussier. I'm just going to kind of try and keep it as relaxed as possible and kind of flatten out as much as possible as I go. Like that. It's not bad, but, you know, if you're not used to handling a lot of projects and fabric, you might as well just take out that frustration factor, you know, and use what the free arm is for, and it's for doing things just like this. Don't want to get any torquing on something like this. All right, so here's my first little cuff. What do you guys think? Clown pants. I think it looks really cute though. This is me always. I'm always doing something to my garment that limits the use of it, you know? And I gotta kind of stop doing that. All right, same thing on this one. I don't know why I just put those pins away. I didn't need them right now. Okay. Yeah, Karen. I'm just so pale for the white things, you know? That's awesome. Oh, cool. Thank you for the blueprint set. That was from Beverly, right? Beverly gave us that tip, I think. And then thanks, Cindy. Yeah, well, you know, I think they look even better in person too. Crazily, I thought, oh, that's a nice neutral when I got them. I don't know about my fabric selection capabilities based on thinking something like that. But I was just like, oh, the colors are nice and neutral and, you know. Oh, and I think Creative Bug has another special through today. So, yeah. I did sign up for a kind of an illustrator style class through a fabric designer I really like. And, you know, honestly, you guys, like, when people tell me I'm not very creative, it kind of makes my heart break a little bit because I think that's not true. You know, I know that's not true, and you can't just tell someone that's not true. You're creative. You know what I mean? Like, I know what they mean and what they're trying to say. It just may not be whatever the medium is that they're talking about, right? And you guys, that is how I feel about drawing. I wish that I could be a good drawer. Drawer? Is that a word? I just never know what to draw. So I can't even practice. And I know people would say, just draw anything. I am that person for once, you know? All right. Oh, really? Interesting. Not pants to wear to a meeting with a loan officer. Oh, really? Are you challenging me? Because I might be seeing one soon. We're looking at a house. That's right, Nancy. It's neutral. I'm going to get my clown nose out. Do you think I should top stitch this edge here? What do you think? I hope they're not too long. Who the class through? What? Who's the class through? Oh, Sarah Watts. She is Ruby Star Society fabric designer and her own thing. She's actually one of my favorite fabric designers in that world. I really like her stuff. I like what she thinks of. She's got kind of a similar sense of humor to me, and a sense of whimsy, you know. Yeah, right, Karen? Exactly. That is my mom. My mom is definitely that. So I feel like, and my dad, you guys, is a professional artist. Is that what you say, a professional artist? You top stitch, you think so? Yeah, maybe I will. Like, maybe right there. Okay. Start on the inseam. This is kind of a different red, but it's far away and it's on the inside, right? Yes, please top stitch. Okay, you go top stitch. Okay. I'm all about the top stitch, so it's not hard to convince me. It's so satisfying. Especially when the thing is all done and it just behaves perfectly, you know? Like that better? I kind of like it without, but I think that'll be better over time and through laundering, you know? So. Okay, so the bottom half is done. Or the bottom, everything but the waistband's done, I should say, not the bottom half. Oh, that's so cool, Megan. I don't know how old your daughter is, but if she's looking to make money, she should check out Fiverr. That website, Fiverr, it's spelled with 2 R's at the end. Fiverr. It's kind of an interesting website. If you know, it's based on the concept of selling things for $5, but it's definitely, everything's not $5 on there. I've actually been paying an illustrator to do the little black and white line drawing of like the project bag and the zip double that's in the finished measurements part. So yeah. Oh, I'm not like, I knew I shouldn't have mentioned about the house thing. We've been looking for a while. We're kind of open to it, especially if there's something I can have my studio back at the house just to save the overhead. My husband would really like to move a little bit outside of town. That's what kind of we're used to after living in Humboldt for so long. The rural thing. The only problem is ye old internet. And ye old YouTube streamer needs it. You know? So we did find a place, and it's kind of one of those once in a blue moon type of places. It's pretty dang special. It's not very big. It's just, which is something we want. We don't want something very big. It's close to his work. But I'd probably have to keep this space, which space is amazing, you know? I love it. We'll see. I literally thought I was going to come home yesterday to my husband having papers for me to sign to put an offer in because he's so gung-ho. He's almost not even like consulting me. He's so into it. I'm like, oh, this is too fast. I don't want to move. So we'll see. I'm not worried about it. I'm not stressed about it at all. If it happens, it happens, you know? Okay. I had to put my waistband in 2 pieces. And I'm just making sure it's where the seam is. So I'm going to put just the outer waistband. We were doing the old fabric chicken thing. Lovely, right? So I'm going to put in the back seam. And I'm actually going to top stitch it to reinforce it. I kind of want to top stitch it off to the side. How does the, where's my center back? Okay, so it goes like this. Wait. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to top stitch it to the side. it'll kind of match my center back rise. Okay, now my waistband's ready. Have my label. Watch me still forget it. Yeah, but you know what, Megan? I don't think there's good enough internet there. So that's the only problem. And you know, it's kind of a big one, but you know, it's also a potential thing that could sort itself out someday, you know? And internet's not the only thing to think about, right? It's pretty cool though. It's got running water on it, like a little creek, and that's something really important to my husband. So we could also, there's a little kind of like a guest cottage on there, and we could move Maggie, his grandma, there, which would be kind of a huge life change, but it would be so good for her, right? So do I ever make vintage patterns? Do you mean, do I ever sew them, Angela? I have. It's been a while. What are you looking for? All right, you guys. I can't escape. I need to iron this. I know. It's embarrassing. I make, you know, I make poor judgments too. So. I used to always work at home until a while ago. Probably, well, I've worked on and off from home. Like once we had there was like this really cool studio behind our house that wasn't like heated or plumbed or anything. And they used it as like a greenhouse, but it was actually like walls and windows with countertop and drawers and everything. It was the most interesting space, and they used all the countertops as like where they put all their like seedlings and stuff. And I used that. I had a little wood stove in it that we eventually took out. That was my last at-home space before I moved here to this area, and then there wasn't a big enough place. Do I mean so? Okay, yeah, that's what I kind of figured. At first, I was like, "Do I ever draft them?" No. All right, so the poplin is my interfacing, and it's looking a little bit smaller than this piece, which is fine because I just ironed it, and that's probably why. So let's lay this on here and trim off this extra. I'm kind of considering making the waistband a little bit smaller and easing it in. I think there's a little bit of a gap in the back, but without the waistband on it, it's kind of hard to tell. Okay, so we're going to treat this as one. You could use fusible. I do have a two-tone waistband. So, dresses from the 50s. Oh, that would be fun. I would love that. If you come up with some pattern ideas. You hate ironing stripe. You know, Megan, you know what I did for that mini thing that you wanted to see more of? I took, you know how I have those antique irons that I'm always using as my pattern weights? I have this little tiny one. I'm using that and a miniature felt pad right next to my machine. And that's what I'm using. I'm not ironing at all. Because, you know, what I learned is that quilters have this roller thingy. You guys are all laughing at me right now. I know, I'm not a quilter. They have that roller thingy that they use. And I was like, oh, those didn't always exist. I could just kind of use a heavy version of finger pressing it. And that's what I did. You might like that better. It's so much faster and you don't have to deal with the iron. So that's my little non-quilter tip. Take it for what it's worth. Okay, so there's my seam. I'm going to line it up to the center. And like I told you guys, I'm going to sew this waistband a little different than I normally would. And I'm actually going to sew this waistband together. So I'm going to sew it the center fronts and along the top. And it is a 5/8 inch seam allowance, which is crazy big. Look at all that. Oh, you got the Gertie dress book. Yes, that's what I was wondering. Is that what you're thinking, Angela? Sense and Sensibility patterns. Joan, I've never heard of them. I'm writing that down. Hi, Glenn. Sense and Sensibility patterns. They sound like they do remakes of like Victorian and costume stuff. You have a baby iron. Doesn't get very hot. Well, you know, you don't have to use heat. I guess it just depends on what you're doing. And, you know, oh, my seam allowance kind of changed there. I'm going to kind of find where. I don't like my waistband not staying. Is it vibrating? Trying to watch me sew up there. I don't like my waistband changing thickness. Yeah, no. Alright, so I'm going to trim this whole edge down. It's just too much fabric to be in there. I will say that you don't have to do this trimming thing, and there's advantages to not doing it, because sometimes the fabric, like when it's folded in like this and this one's folded in, they will meet, and then you have a nice, you know, it's all filled in. It just depends on your seam allowance and stuff. So, but if you have denim and you know your denim's gonna wear and get that kind of, what's that called? That kind of the burnishing, you know, that denim can do, the distress. Every little seam on the inside your seams is going to show on the outside as the distress over time. And it takes a lot less time than you think. So just make sure you want wherever your seam is going to be. And having it right down the center of your waistband, it does look a little weird. It's fine with this. It would be fine with this fabric for me to stay with that. Probably could have just left this, but I'm trimming it. I'm going to trim my corner. And I'm going to trim this corner as well. All right, now we're going to... Should I have already bound this? I can't remember. Oh, really, Megan? The book of vintage dresses. Oh. Oh, you love the look of vintage dresses. I do too. I mean, I have that classic hourglass shape, so a lot of them work really well. Yeah, Joan, I don't blame you. Yeah, I know. And you know, I do have a video on grading, and that would be something we can talk a little bit more about. So grading up and stuff. Grading up sometimes isn't the solution, though. It's better to like have a base size in the range and then grade from there. Oh, I'm looking up this pattern company. I'm gonna iron this and also think through the bindings. I feel like I do that. Should have done that now. I don't want it. So the first part of my waistband will actually be sewn in the seam, and the binding will start past that. So I haven't done one of these in a while. I'm like all luring you guys with this new waistband technique. I'm like, how do I do it again? I love the way the binding finish waistbands look. It's kind of one of my favorite looks on the inside because it just looks so polished. The other good thing about this is that it's easier to make fit adjustments if you finish it this way, because it's not as hard to pull out the stitching. So I kind of press the seam one way to make this part easier. It'll want to fold right there on that crease a little easier. I'm going to do this and try and see if I want to see a little bit of my waistband fabric. Yeah, what's fun is I'm getting paid a tiny bit for each of the masks I'm making for the city, just to pay for time, and I'm donating all the materials. I think I told you guys that. And but they are offered to pay me in farmers market money. Like, so that's kind of cool. I was like, yeah, that sounds great. Then I can kind of, support the farmers still. That's true. Gertie is a good option for that, Joan. But I think it's Angela looking, right? Yeah, what kind of fabric? Oh, I need to look what I'm doing here. I want to get this little corner point out a little better. Use my awl. I feel like that could be a little better. Sometimes, when you're turning these points, sometimes not turning from the right side works out better. I feel like when I put my awl in here from the back side, it turns the point out because I'm pushing this point against the back side right here, and that's what's pushing out. You know what I mean? Like, I've never really thought about it, but it's really obvious to me right now looking at this fabric, because I'm kind of pushing this. All right, so now I need to pick my binding. And I was thinking either it just gets crazier and crazier thinking this or this. Remember, we're going to see about this much of it. Got a bunch. That's awesome. A red quilting cotton. Uh-huh. Do you want a ball gown, Megan? Yeah. You use your awl for whipping seams? I do too a lot. I actually find it really satisfying. Okay, so this is my waistband inside, right? So it's going to look like this on the inside. Maybe just the silver. I have this gray. That actually might be a nice tone. Maybe I should have picked a red. What do you think? I have this, but this red's so orange. The gray one? The gray one, not this silver. Okay, gray or silver. You want that square neck style. Hi, Claire. Which gray bias? The silver? Silver is the shiny one. Or the waves, or wind. I think I called this wind. Silver. There's a big delay with YouTube. I think it's like 15 seconds sometimes. Oh boy, you guys. Let's look at a bigger piece of it. I was really struggling to find a waistband fabric, wasn't I? All right, here's silver. Silver is, it's like, I don't know how to say this other than it's a little yellower. The gray. The gray kind of goes along with it with the texture. The wing on the left. Yeah, isn't it t-shirts, Megan? Yes, delay confusion, exactly. I really thought this would be the one. I'm kind of surprised it's not. Honestly, I think red would be better. Gray, no shiny. That's 3 grays in a row. Okay, the gray. Do you guys have a thing against shiny stuff like I do? Okay. Now, let's put this gal right here, right now. And I'm going to center it over my seam allowance, not over the seam, just because the optical illusion of it looking centered, you know? Okay, great, all right. Okay, so I need to bind this, and I'm pretty sure, you know, I should have probably looked up where you do this, but I won't leave this edge unfinished, or not unfinished, bound up to the, you know. So what'll happen is I'm going to finish, you know, like sew this and then clean finish the inside right here for a little bit. And then I'm going to let the binding hang down and we'll top stitch it down. But I actually think I'm going to trim down the seam allowance right now so I don't have 5/8 of this hanging down below. I'm not making color. Shiny jewelry is fine, yeah. Sydney, you did a good job figuring out your issues with your tank top, I think. Okay, wait. Let's look for my notches. I saw what you meant, man. Man, that kind of thing. But I love that you had the luck of it, your shoulders, you know, like pinching your shoulders was what you needed to do. That worked out really good, I think. Not a fan of 5/8 in seam allowance, so I'm actually going to trim it down to about 3/8. And I'm not going to trim down the seam allowance on my waistband. I'm going to actually leave that extra 1/4 inch in there. I got a little shy about how much I was adding to my rise on these, and I don't think I needed to do that. They're not going to be low rise or anything. They're going to be fine, but this will just add a little of that back. Could I please cut straight for you guys? Please. Please. All right. Joan, do you like, wait, it's Angela. Angela, do you like Marvelous Mrs. Maisel? The So-So Club. Yeah, Sydney, right? You know, if you're going to use something like a quilting cotton again, and those metallics are stiffer and weird too, some of them, you know, especially more than others, you could try putting it on the bias. It'll feel funny when you put it on. Like, you'll feel that weirdness, but it'll probably look really good. It'll give your stiff boardy fabric a lot more drape. Polka dots or red clown you. It's also a makeup bag, and the other bigger boxes have a noodle head bag. Oh, really? Oh, I didn't notice that. All right, so let's bind this edge here. So maybe I'll go up to there. I'm gonna go up to that notch. Why not? There's probably a more specific place to do that. Sorry, I'm being a little bit loosey-goosey with it. I'm here to make you a better sewist, so I like to challenge you. Just teasing. But it is good to learn how you would react to things, right? That's how you get good. How do you get yourself out of a pickle? And I may have to adjust this once I'm done. I'm just going to leave that a little bit raw there. I do wish I had a different lining, waistband lining, you know. Bye, Julia. Nice seeing you. Yeah, right? Yeah, if you like that kind of clothing, it's really great eye candy. And the show's pretty cute. It's a little bit, well, I don't know what I was about to say, but it has a kind of a Woody Allen type of thing. I'm not a Woody Allen fan myself, but it does, like, there's a lot of talking sometimes and repeating of things, but it's pretty funny. Definitely has its bright moments, but the clothing in it is totally worth watching. It's pretty cute. Yeah, that's awesome, Sydney. Yeah, that's great. Frankie Detective, what's that? I'm not giving a binding tutorial. Aren't you guys proud of me? First time ever? Sewing binding, not telling you how to do it. You guys could probably recite it verbatim. Alright, so now I'm going to sew the outer waistband. Why did I put the interfacing to the inner? Alright, don't do what I did. Put the interfacing to this. No comment. Alright. Let me get this. I like to open up my waistband here. Line up this edge. Like that. Especially with this lightweight fabric, the interfacing would have been nice. If you're doing denim, some denims don't need the interfacing. And so if you went that route, yeah, I totally get you on that. Where are these notches lining up? Okay. All right, let's line up the center back seam here. I have to be careful of my seam of my, I need to raise that up. Okay, let's raise that up. Because I decided to narrow my seam allowance, so I need to raise this up a little bit. Otherwise it won't make it in there. In a factory, they would attach this to the waistband. All right, so now let's line up the center here. And if anything, I would like my waistband to get smaller, not bigger. So. Oh, I'm going to check that out, Megan. Frankie Detective. Do I grade? Yeah, I do. So Sydney, my feelings on binding a neckline, it really depends on the neckline. I get mixed results with it. And it's a definite, it's a definite look that I like in some respects. So I'm not trying to knock people for using it, but I do feel like people, and I mean pattern companies, sometimes use it because facings are kind of funky sometimes. You know, facings can flip out or not stay inside, and they can be a little bit difficult to tame. But I don't feel like that's a good enough excuse to not do facings and use binding instead. This is just my personal opinion, because binding has a problem with staying on the inside of a garment. It is not stretchy enough for that. Yeah. Yeah, we could do that, Karen. So, a badge tutorial. Yeah, I've done that before. I was thinking about doing that. Thank you for telling me that's interesting. I will write it down. So if you look back on my very first 100 acts of sewing top that I made, Sydney, that's the binding. That finish is on the neckline, and I couldn't get it to work. And I feel like I'm really good at binding, but here's the thing. This is it. And I'm sorry I'm interrupting this waistband. When you're sewing binding to something that's going completely to the inside of the garment, and it's not going to straddle the edge, like this one right here straddles both sides. So think about it. This piece right here did not change in size. Nothing bent back. No seam allowance has bent back. It is exactly the same. If we removed the binding right now, this would be the same piece, right? Now, if it went to the inside of the garment, right? So the binding was, let's say that's the seam, and it was pushed to the inside, and you have a curve, you're asking this edge right here to stitch down to a distance that is much longer than it is. And all you have to do to prove that is measure this edge right here and measure the spot it's going to sew to, and you'll notice that it's inches different. And even though binding is really stretchy and really forgiving for that, there is a limit to it. And what happens is if you do get it to work, you'll see diagonal lines across the spot where the binding's sewn on the outside of the garment. It's really hard to get around that. So make sure if you do this, pre-wash your binding so that there's no shrinkage, because you got to remember your binding is going to shrink like this, not like this where the facing is sewn, because the binding is on the bias, right? So what I did on that 100 acts of sewing top is I actually left a tiny bit showing on the outside of the garment, and that worked. It just was like the path of least resistance, you know, and that worked. So, or put the binding on both sides. If you put it to the outside of the garment, you're going to have the same issue, but it's not going to be as noticeable because the binding's going to distract you from seeing it, and it'll cover it up a little bit. Or just draft facings. You know, just draft facings. The facing can just be like 2 to 2.5 inches, a parallel line that's identical to the neckline. You sew and turn it to the inside, and then tack down the shoulders, and then press it down when you go to wear it. You can even stitch down that facing, you know, like, you know, if this facing is stitched down, just stitch it down to the garment. That actually looks kind of cool, you know. So anyway, that's my 2 cents about that. All right, let's see. I'm trying to see here where this notch goes. Oh, this does go to the side seam. Where did the other notch go? Maybe that wasn't a notch I notched. This one right here. Oh, we have our belt loops. Hot diggity, we have the belt loops. Okay, look at this. Why do I have so much fabric here? What the what? This is the stuff you guys live for. My pain. All right, this is fine. This is fine. I mean, this is a little bit small, but that's actually what I kind of want, you know? And then we get over here, and it's bigger. What the heck? Okay, well, we'll just shorten it at the center front waist. It's not the most accurate way to do that, but definitely I'm not going to try and ease it in, because I actually want the back to ease into the waist, if anything. Whew. Look at how much different that is. Oh, see, now look, that's the side seam there, and that's the notch. The only thing I can think of is that the waistband should be asymmetrical. I mean, it kind of should be. See right there? Maybe you're supposed to trim it right there, because that would be give you your seam allowance. I don't use them either. I actually don't want belt loops on this. Maybe I'll just leave the belt loops off because I actually don't want them on this. And if you need a belt loop tutorial, I did it on the last few pairs of jeans. So, all right. So let's just cut this baby off right at that notch. We're going to do this perpendicular and keep this nice and parallel here. Maybe this is in the instructions to do. Okay. All right. And go through all thicknesses. And now we're going to sew. Oh, I unthreaded my machine. And I rethreaded it. They're not jeans without belt loops, but they're not jeans. Mine aren't jeans. Okay, I'm doing a 3/8 inch seam here because I trimmed it down, remember? And that would not have changed that, didn't get me into that pickle, just so you know. If that's what you're thinking. So traditionally, if I were sewing this waistband or if it was a collar stand, I am going to do a video on this. I sew the inside waistband, so it would be the red in this case, to right side to the wrong side of the inside of the pants. So it would start here, I would sew the seam, and then I would fold the waistband to the outside of the pants, turn under the edge, and stitch it down. I find that way to be the most accurate, most consistent way to get a really nice looking waistband. And you don't have to worry if you're catching the inside of your waistband when you go to top stitch it down, because you want to top stitch it down from the outside with your nice top stitch thread, right? So just look at any of my jeans or anytime I've sewn the Archer to see that how I do that kind of technique. I don't see anyone use it. I'm starting to see a few people use it, and I actually think there's kind of a few bigger companies starting to imitate me, like whose patterns I've made. What are you gonna do, right? But hey, it works, and I totally stand behind it, and that's what they would do in the garment industry. They would actually have a waistband machine in some cases, but do what works so that you don't have to struggle, you know? Because gosh darn it, you deserve not to struggle. Alright, I'm going to pull this pin out so I can kind of see what I have here. So here I am. There's my center front, actually. So like I say, I like to open this up right here and make sure that I'm getting it right on the center, because this is kind of a tricky spot. The center. I like to make sure that, you know, my inner waistband's not going to show. So now we can top stitch this down. Maybe I do want a little more of that, like that. We can top stitch this down from the right side, and because this hangs down so far, we have no choice but to hit it, and it's a flatter waistband. So, oh, night, Louise. Sleep well. We'll see you Saturday, maybe. Oh, wow, Megan. Yeah, schedules are weird, right? Okay, so now let's turn our waistband. I haven't finished this front edge here, so we did our fronts different from one side to the next. I sew this spot like this sometimes, keeping this edge open, and sometimes I pre-sew it. So it doesn't matter, you know, how you do it. I find merits to either. I like this way because, look, you know, I can now lay this waistband here. I can see where this is all at, and it kind of helps. But it'll lead to something else, you know, so In case you gotta do it works. I don't want that thread poking out. I'm gonna reinforce this little corner since that's where I lopped it off. And now I'm gonna trim that. So this one, my binding goes all the way to the front edge like that. That's not usually what you do. You don't usually have it sitting there like that, but I kind of wanted to see what would happen, you know, just so you can see if you're kind of uncomfortable with the way I did that. Oh my God, really? I'll tell you what, the thing that really breaks my heart is that people are, see, look at it, it still didn't work. That's why you attach it to the waistband. That people don't get to be with their loved ones in their final hours, in their final days, you know, like that. For me, I was like, oh boy, that's what keeps me making masks. I think about that. Anyone who thinks this is a hoax or not serious, I think the people who are sick and dying would disagree. You know, so sad. Okay. Let's see here. Let's fold this down. Oh, I took my seam out. I'm like, what is happening? I'm gonna find my center point on this waistband. I don't know about this binding with this red, you guys. I'm gonna kind of cant it a little bit there, and now I'm gonna attach my. Now I'm gonna attach it like this. There we go. Is that gonna make it? Yeah, it'll make it. Okay. All right. Let's iron. We like ironing. We like ironing. Do we though? We like good results. We like good results. These are looking finished. You know what what just poked me? Where was that pin at? Do you see it? The heck? Oh, there it is. Sheesh. Do you guys remember that movie, Steel Magnolias? And they make the armadillo cake. The groom's cake. That's what this is reminding me of. Alright, so I'm just fussing. I'm gonna look at my waistband here. I'm just gonna press the seam up. I know the red pop is really, it's pretty fun. Oh, dang, I really stabbed myself. I'm sorry, you guys. Dang. Just a second. I love that cake part too. I'm getting a Band-Aid. Just a second. Isn't it weird, like, like I barely felt that pinprick, but man, I really bled a lot. I can't even find it. Well, is that it right there? Wow. I must have hit something. I don't know what, though. Yeah, Karen, right? That movie, man. I was kind of like, I wasn't too young for it or anything like that, but I don't know, like it was impressionable for me the age I was. I was probably early 20s or something. I don't know, it was kind of I think about it. My friend that I lived with when I first moved to Humboldt grew up in that town where it was filmed in Natchitoches, Louisiana. I adore her. And she said, yeah, it really makes our town kind of a touristy area, but it's not, it's not a touristy area at all. And she actually ended up going back and moving there and raising her family there. And she never thought she would do that. But she's like, yeah, it's such a great town, So beautiful and such a close community. See, I mean, look at how willy-nilly I can be about these pens now. I can just kind of put them on here as long as this is nice and flat. You're not getting any buckling in your outer waistband, right? So when you lay this down, you don't want to see anything like this. Like don't pull it down so low that you get that. So just make sure you're kind of pulling this down, pulling your pants, and then getting this nice and lined up. And you can adjust it. In fact, I'll probably repen this from the outside. Because see, I don't want that. You see that little red stripe? So let's pull that to the inside. I could probably get this corner point a little bit better. This is our last stitch, basically. We're done. So this one has the binding going all the way to the front. While it looks really nice, it's kind of a bulky way to do it because you can kind of see my binding in there, right? And I'll probably turn this up like that. Kind of catch it in there. And on this side, it just feels a little awkward because usually you just turn under, clean finish this edge like that. And then you kind of let it hang down like that. It's a little different. The other one's easier. This one looks more finished right here at the center front. What the heck is this thread right here? What is that? Is that like an extra stitch? Oh, it's an extra stitch. Get out of there. There we go. So we'll fold that in there. I don't like these little threads right here. They are the ones that really give you grief if you don't kind of make sure those are all cleaned up. I think I did that little binding tail a little differently than we could have done, Like I think I could have done that a little nicer. Yeah, pull your pants down. Get it nice and flat. I thought that too when I started saying that. I was like, wait, that's starting to come out differently than what I mean, But, Okay. Nice and flat. I'll probably switch my bobbin to red. These are definitely going to be, like quarantine pants since I didn't get to pick a cute fabric for that. All right, let's see how they look on the outside. This one thread right here. So if you're putting your belt loops on, I have a feeling some of those notches go for that. So make sure you follow those. But generally where your belt loops go are right here, right in front of your pocket, right behind your side seam, and at your center back. And that's 5 belt loops. I know, right, Nancy? Yeah, my friend gave me these a long time ago. She's like, I saw these and I thought of you. And I've tried to use them for so many things. Oh, I just cut my top thread. Dang it. I meant to change my bobbin. Alright, come on. Third time I've had to thread my needle. Hopefully we don't see any of our red on the outside, on the top side. I don't right there, so let's make it a little thicker. Yeah, I think that'll be good. I don't see the white on the back either, so. Get everything off your table. Get it out of the way. And I'm going to start from the center back. That's just where I like to, because I don't like doing the start and stop stitching at the center front waistband, you know? Yeah, right, Nancy? That's great. So just try not to torque your waistband at all. Just keep it nice and flat. I left my pins in there. I didn't actually transfer them. I kind of forgot. I just try and keep it nice and flat and nothing pulling or distressing. I did bring my Cheyenne tunic to work because I'm like, okay, if I have to take a picture of myself wearing these, do I have a shirt that goes with them? And my red Cheyenne tunic might work. Okay, this will have to go under the head of my machine. Kind of awkward, but you got this. Ooh. I just got a little off because the head of the pin pushed me. So let's get rid of these pins that we've already sewn near. So sometimes that is a risk. The head of your pin can get lodged into your feed dogs, and that can really hang you up, and it can be a little dangerous, so be careful. You know, Megan, I kept breaking my thread on my binding machine yesterday, and I couldn't figure it out. And I think it just was like a buildup of lint underneath. So I've been, I should show you guys my next batch of masks are sitting next to me here. But I decided that I'm going to pre-sew all of the ties. So I've been running it through my binding machine like crazy. And then I'm going to attach it to the mask after the mask is sewn. And I think it's going to be faster. It's a little weird, but it's like so much faster to run the binding machine that way without having to go over thicknesses, you know? I would hazard to say if you've pressed this well enough, I think you could sew this without the pins. Maybe just a few landmarks so you don't get any torquing. Sometimes the pins can be kind of a, you know, bother. I don't like it when it's under the head of my machine like this. Trying to make sure that red's not peeking out. A little bit will be okay, but I don't want it to be distracting. So this way I don't get that start and stop right there at that focal point of the center of my front of my waistband. Because sometimes those start stops, you know, when you back tack and stuff, add like a lot of thread, and that can be a little unsightly, you know. I know you know what I mean. I mean, mine's not very pretty. I would clean out your machine, Megan. Maybe that's all you need to do. Okay, I'm just trying, I'm on that last stretch, so I'm kind of smoothing everything out. Making sure I don't have anything that's going to make me ease it in, you know? Because remember, I did a tiny bit of easing on this waistband, especially at the back. It was easy peasy to do with this fabric, though. Okay. It's a curved waistband, so I think it'll get rid of that gap. Let's get rid of that. And see, look at that. So now you know that stitch landed on the waistband, right? You don't have to worry about, like, if this were a turned under edge and you had to nail it, right? So that's why I sew it the other way. If I'm doing a nice clean finish turned under edge, which I probably should have on this because the fabric's kind of kooky, I like to start from the inside, sew the waistband to the inside of the pants, fold it to the right side, turn it under and top stitch it, and then I stitch it from the right side. And even if your stitching falls off the waistband on the inside, no one's going to see that, you know? So here we go. My clown pants are done. Pretty cute. Show you in this camera. I think the lighting's a little different. So. Oh no. All right, and then here's my cuffs. So I think if I really like these cuffs and they kind of come down a lot, what I'll do, like if they come unfolded while I'm wearing them, I can tack them in the seam here, like stitch in the ditch on the sides, and that should be sufficient. You can see there's my seam right there that I attached the cuff, so I didn't probably need to be that, you know, high up, but like I didn't need to make the cuff maybe that wide, but it could be here. But the problem with that is then you run the risk of it showing, so. Yeah, I'll go off camera, but I'll take a picture and post it today, Karen, on Instagram. So yeah, I think they turned out pretty cute. These are they're a little bit childish, but I like them a lot. I want to make this pattern again. I see what you guys mean. This pattern's pretty cool. And I think that I'd love to do a pair where the back was a little bit bigger and they were elastic on across the back. This back looks so nice. Look at that. Hubba hubba. Button fly. How'd this turn out? What is that? Is that like... Oh, that's my red stitching. It came down on the binding there. Didn't really look at that, did I? I'm barely catching that right there, so I'll probably have to fix that right there. I don't like... This is not looking right to me, and I can't figure out what it is. Why does this look different? You know, I honestly think this probably should have gone all the way to the edge there. And you know what I'll probably do? I'll probably unstitch this, unpick some of my binding, attach a piece of the binding to this, continue it all the way, and then still turn under this edge right here. But I'll leave the binding all the way. You know? Yeah, I need a button at the top, but my buttonhole machine, which is my home machine, is at home. And I have one. Ooh, you know what I didn't talk about? And it shows. All right, this is one of my bad sewing habits. I get so focused on clean finishing a waistband that I forget about it lining up right here and here, and look at that. And of course, it's not on the side that I'm going to probably fix. This side looks actually really good. It's on this side. But the good news is with this style of waistband sewing, it is pretty easy to pop this open. It's still clean finished. And I can kind of trim off a little off here, off the top edge, and it would line up better. See that? So when you're doing a waistband, and I apologize for not mentioning this before, I get really focused on certain aspects of this. And the last couple of times I've done pretty good about addressing this before I got this far. Make sure your waistband is the same width left to right. And don't look at it from right here. Look at it where it's going to end up like that. You know? So, the fabric would hide flaws, yeah. Yeah, so I think this isn't hard to fix at all. And I probably will. Why not, right? This looks so nice except right here. So I'm going to pull this out, continue the binding all the way, and then turn it under and sew it again. Maybe I'll just leave it like this. It's just not the traditional way to do it. This doesn't bug me too much. No one's going to see it. But, you know, because this fabric, I don't know, can you see the grain line on that? Do you see it right here? It's on the bias when it gets to this point because it's a curved waistband. So it's literally stretched out right there. I'm a polar. Not a square corner. Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, that's probably what I'll be doing right when I get off camera is this. And now I have start and stops near my front, but I'll survive. I mean, I have upside down buttonholes. I gotta let that go, right? Which was not my fault, by the way. But yeah, does make it easy to fix little things when your waistband's kind of clean finished like this, because you don't have to dread turning that edge under and finishing it. But I think this is pretty worth fixing. Make it look nice and lined up. You know? Yeah, it would be hidden by a top. I agree. I happen to be wearing the gingers that I did the worst on my button placement on. And it's such a constant annoyance because the button's a little low on the waistband. So it's sitting more like right here. And it means the top flares like that. And you'll see it through a shirt, certain shirts. And it makes my shirt poke out. I'm like, dude, I don't need to enhance my belly any more than it is enhancing all by itself, you know? And that does enhance it. I'm trying not to catch my binding. That's nice that I have the red to focus on. Makes it a little easier. All right. Try and always take out these seams on the inside so that I don't hurt my waistband fabric. If you're doing denim, I totally recommend that because, like I say, denim is a little bit fragile. It's not very forgiving. So maybe me pulling on that corner, I can see and feel that between that bias right there, it's a little stretched, which is not surprising. So what would be the best way? So a good 1/8 of an inch to nothing really quickly. You guys don't have to wait if you don't want. You know, I gotta have some pet peeves, right, Ray? Did I get that? I want to make sure I got that pretty blended in. I don't want to like suddenly. Let's see. All right. That's already way better, right? I might as well just show you how I'm going to fix the other side because sometimes extending a piece of bias seems like you can't do it and you'd have to take out the whole piece, but you don't have to do that. All right, so let's see. Let's pull this. Since I have the mismatched bobbin, I want to get rid of that red thread right there. And I want to make sure, I'm going to pull this a little exaggerated. Pull this waistband edge like that. All right. Wish me luck. Try not to pull as much as I usually do since the bias is right there, and I think that I was part of the problem there. I don't have this point very good here. Just a little bit. You know? I trimmed that, right? Can't remember. All right, let's hope it looks good on the inside. All right. I actually landed more on the waistband. All right, let's see if I did it okay. My top stitching is it looks a little uneven because between the print being there and it is a little bit funny right there, but I'm not gonna worry about that. Let's fix this right here. Let's get out a bit of it here. This is why a 5-minute tutorial never never shows you very much. Never shows you everything, right? All right. Why am I taking that out? Oh my God. All right. I guess I'm taking all this out. I don't know why I went that far. It's okay. We'll just do it anyway so that I don't have to fix that and then go down here and fix this. Oh, but here, I'll show you my mask prep. Can you see this? Oh, where is it? Why is it doesn't show what I think it's showing here? I'll do my full screen. So that's what I decided to do was do all my ties. So see, here's all my ties. That's why you need to turn it this way. I have more over here. And so then I'm just going to pleat them and then attach them. And I think that's going to be so much faster, you know. I won't have the seconds I do with my binding machine and having to unpick things and fix it because it didn't like the thickness or something. Plus, I can get rid of all of the binding where I ran out of bobbin. Like sometimes I would run out of bobbin and then I would have to like go back and touch that up. Well, because I run out of bobbin on the ties, I just cut that part out and I don't even include it. And I can do about 50 masks worth of ties in about a half hour on the machine. I still need to attach them. So I think that'll be better. That's not all the ties I need quite yet, but I got really burnt out fast because I had to focus. You guys would be floored how fast I can get that machine going, but I have to like slow down for every seam, and I had to coil it up as it was coming off, and so I was so tired afterward. My daughter was here, and she was cutting them for me, which was fun. I love it when she comes, and you know, just sitting there like this, coiling it, and then pulling it through, and then coiling it, you know. Oh, I'm not amazing, you guys. It's just, that's, you know, this is the one thing I know how to do, right? So that's what I do. You know, it's a good time to think about who makes your clothes. I'm not going to make you guys get a lecture, but just think about who makes your clothes and what they have to do daily to do that, right? I mean, that's why we're making our clothes. That's one of the reasons why we do it, right? So just think about those folks doing that and doing it daily, every day. I mean, I've production sewed for a long time, for a really long time. And my body is definitely, it has some issues because of it. And it's just kind of the nature, you know, whatever industry you're in, you're going to have whatever it is, you know, that's part of that industry. Every industry has one. Even if you're a doctor or a lawyer, you know, right? We all have our repetitive issues. And just doing these masks for the little bit I've been doing it, all those issues are really popping up for me. I'm like, dang it. I need to exercise more. Even my daughter was saying that. She was like, my back's hurting standing here. And I had her on a gel mat and everything. All right, so here I'm going to splice in a piece of binding that's going to go all the way to the edge. Even though I don't really feel like this is the proper way to sew this style of waistband, I think it's going to look better in this case. Night, Malin. Sleep well. Oh, the elastic would be so much faster. So this is what I do. I lay these two pieces on top. Both of them are right side up, or both of them will be wrong side up. And now I'm going to cut my diagonal line. Just do your best there. And now you can sew them together if you give yourself enough room. I barely have enough room here. Let's open up a little bit more of this. Give myself a little bit more room to work. But splicing in a piece of binding is a lot less of a headache than it seems like. I've had to do it a few times, you know. So now just lay your two pieces with the cut edge that you just cut together. You're going to line it up so that right here, this little V that you're creating with this binding and this binding, that intersection is the seam line. That's where you're going to sew. It's the only way you're going to get a nice straight line of your binding. Your binding will look continuous. Make sure you overlap them so that you have that little V at the seam line, right? So now trim this a little bit. I always trim both corners. Iron it if you like. Finger press the heck out of it. I'm scratching it. And now we can use this piece of binding. It's a continuous piece, okay? So now you have to take apart a little bit more of the last edge that we sewed. Not the one where you attach it, but just the last edge so that you can open up your seam here. Like this. And then continue on. Anytime you need to do some fixing to something that's kind of a pain, do yourself a favor and take it all apart, get rid of all the threads, and get it back to ground zero. It'll be way more easy to do your fix, and also it'll be less frustrating, and you'll also look forward to doing it a little more, you know? So all right, so now I have red bobbin thread on, but it's not going to show, so I'm not going to worry about it. So now we'll just continue this just the way it was before. What are all these threads here, though? Let's get rid of all that. That we want to get rid of. We don't want to immortalize extra threads. Okay, that's fine. So we're just fixing this little binding. Ay, ay, ay. It's a little thick right there, so my needle just got pushed. So let's pull that out. It's pushing me a little bit off. All right. Actually, the red bobbin thread worked out in my favor there. I was like, where's the stitch line? Invisible. Now I see it a little bit there, but that's okay, right? Yeah, right. You know, actually, you're reminding me. I want to look. I've never shopped for bra making stuff, but and I do plan on doing some bra making this year. I've never done it before, so it'll be a learning experience for me. But I'm kind of into that. I want to make peds. You know how I make those little, like, I have those little, like, socks I wear in my shoes? like the no-show kind of socks. And I really want fold-over elastic for them. I'm going to trim this a little bit. All right. So now... Wait, what did I do wrong? Oh, I see. So you see, okay, so here's what I did. So you see how this one, the little binding is sticking below? And this one, I sewed this seam here. That makes it so that if I sew this on right now and then turn it, it would put the binding like that. That's actually, I think, how it's done. That's how it's done. My binding's just kind of chunky for this style. If I had used this one, which is an art, it's not, I don't know what fabric company this is. Actually, this was sent to me by mistake. And we loved it. They let us keep it. It was kind of a fiasco for the binding company, but it was a win for us. So the way I can fix this right now is I'll just take out this seam right here and turn it under, this side under. And then it would be the same as the other side. But if you wanted to do it kind of like think the way you see it in a store-bought setting, you would do this. You would bind this piece, then sew your seam here. And then when you go to sew it on, like this, it'll end up looking like that. You have a little bit of turn down. Okay. I would use narrower binding and a lighter weight binding. This is what we'll do. I'm going to fold that edge up. I think I've sewn this waistband 4 different ways today. You bought patterns for them, or you mean from them? Yeah, okay, there we go. No, you know what? No, that's not what you want to do. Sorry. Don't sew the seam yet. Just don't sew it. Leave your options open. It's so funny how I don't know how to do something. I'll figure it out eventually, but man, I drag you guys along with it for the ride, don't I? Because remember the other one I sewed after I had sewn it to the seam? I was just lucky when I did that. Why is this so stitched? It's stitched twice. I was looking at all the commands. I forgot we have all these commands. If you're new here, you can actually type fun commands. If you type in the chat, !commands, you'll see all the commands you can write. And then that you use one of those ! And the word like noise, and you would get why my machine does that. We have a lot of them. All right. My poor little waistband's getting a little tired. All right, so this on here. All right, now I'm going to check to make sure my waistband seam still is lined up. After all this, I don't want to create a new problem, you know? Okay, we're okay. Phew! You know? All right, now I'm going to sew this seam on the end. We're so close to being done, I promise. I'm going to do it with this side up so I can see. You can see this is actually trying to stretch out right now. I'm going to try and tame it a little bit. Let's look at it. You know? Well, it's okay over here, and that's what I'm worried about. So this is underneath, so I'm not going to worry about as much. Okay, great. That's what I needed. I needed permission, you know? Why isn't it coming up for you, Joan? That's so weird. I do, Nancy. Why isn't it coming up for her? She did it right. Oof. That's what I spend on bras sometimes. I have. Not lately. You did it right, Joan. I don't know why it didn't work for you. That's so weird. Okay. All right, so now I am back to my final seam again. Just like that. Helen, I'm almost done. How are you? All right, so let's see here. I feel a little like bump in there. Yeah, that's it, isn't it, Nancy? Exclamation point, commands. It's plural. Let's try one. Let me finish this, sorry. Yeah, I'm getting distracted. Yeah, there you go. Nancy, that's Nancy's. It's not coming up. Oh, I'm sorry about your mom. Well, I don't know what I did. I'll check it out. That's so nice you made a dress, Helen. That's really special. All right. So they look the same now on the inside. Look at all my Choco liner there. Okay. They're done now. Except for the button and buttonhole that I need to put on the top here. At least one button shows, right? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you can go to a funeral. That would have been really hard. Yeah, and what a relief. Yeah, that's good. Thanks, Cindy. Cindy, you'll get to see me wearing them around town. Yeah, right, Helen? Yeah, I was joking, I think, with you guys or someone, like last year, we all here gained what we call fire fat after the campfire. And I think I gained 12 pounds last year, and I think it was partly that and partly my body's changing. And then now it's quarantine fat because my daughter's baking cookies every day. I actually think I'm losing a couple pounds, though. Yeah. Exactly. Your mom. But I'm sure she hasn't been herself. Or the mom you knew, so. Yeah, I know, Cindy. I can't wait. I can't wait to see you again. Cindy, do you sew, like, quilty stuff because I joined this quilt group called Mostly Modern Quilt Group. I think you would really like some of the gals in there. I know you probably don't want one more thing to do or go to or whatever, but if you want to go with me next time, which is like in June or July, I'll bring you. Yeah, Helen, exactly. Or the chocolate. You can't stop eating candy. Yeah, my husband brought me hot tamales, and I was so excited. He kept bringing them, and then I think I almost got a bladder infection. So yeah, I've been doing pretty good. I made that chocolate cake on Sunday though. That was pretty good. All right, you guys. Well, I'm gonna go try this on. What shirt am I wearing? This doesn't really go with these, does it? But yeah, I think they're gonna be cute. And okay, cool. I really want to introduce you to this gal. Yeah, we can talk about it later, but I think well, honestly, I probably would warn you because I think you'd be a really great resource for her. But I know how that is when people pair me up with people that are like, you'd be a great resource for this person. And I'm like, great. Just what I want to do everything for them. And then they get the credit. What is that little red thread? What is that? Did I nick that? What is that? Ooh, I'm gonna probably hand sew that down right there. There we go. That's the thread I'm looking for. Yeah, I think that I did this in a little bit creative way right here. You know, they look pretty good all in all. Definitely a patchwork of fabrics. Yeah. Right, Megan? Exactly. I don't have a top button yet, Sydney, but it's right here. I need a buttonhole first. Ah, that's a great way to look at it, Helen. You're celebrating her. I love that. Yeah. Oh man, you guys, I feel like my husband's grandma. She's just like, why am I here? She is totally sharp and has all her wits, and she's just like, I can't do anything that I like to do. I can't read books anymore. I can't walk. You know, it's frustrating for her. So yeah, yeah, it does look good in this, like this, huh? Creativity rules, Walter. Yeah, right. Yep. We get there in the end, and it's a solid pair of pants, even if I'm not doing it the like classic way of sewing something. They're solid, they're very sturdy, and they're gonna last a while, you know, nice and clean finished. And I think this is always a nice way, like we've all seen really cute pictures with people with the waistband and a cute binding. This is a little bit challenging, but I think like that it looks pretty cute. So and then the pockets, I have extra buttons, don't worry. And then we have our fun cuffs. And if they may work without being cuffed as well. We'll see. So thanks. Yeah, I'm happy. They're non-stretch and they're the Morgan jeans. So all right, guys. Well, I'll see you Saturday for the Scout tee, which I may be changing my fabric choice, I think. And that should be really fun. I have my pattern, but I think I'm going to use the straight up Scout tee pattern. Who am I kidding? I might change my mind. We know that, but you know, we'll see. I'm kind of limited on what fabrics I have to choose from right now. So you do the hook top so it's flat, you think? Not a button right there? Is that what you mean? My first button fly. I like how that came out. Boop. All right, well, I'll see you guys. Okay, Karen, I will. They may be a little like awkward length for one or the other, so use the same fabric. I don't have enough, remember? You know, it would totally look like camouflage then, wouldn't it? Oh my God. Can you imagine? I bought this, I think, to make a bow top. I think that's what I bought it for. But the bow is like, I love that top, but I like it in the linen. This would be fine. Yeah. All right, you guys. Well, have a good rest of your week. I'm going to be sewing masks. I'm really going to try and get through all of them by tomorrow. And hopefully we get back. I really, you guys, really want to get to using my Beatrice form, because I know that you guys all don't have a dress form, but I think you're going to really appreciate when I use my Beatrice and I make a pattern that I'm going to be able to draft whatever pattern I want that's going to fit me. And I think you might really like that. I think you're going to like seeing like the kind of the get the look type of thing, like, oh, we want this, we can do that, you know? So yeah, Walter, I was thinking about doing a color block scout tee. I actually got a bunch of fabrics out to do a color block to go with this, and then I was like, yeah, that's still a little matchy but I think maybe a color block one would be really fun in different fabrics, and maybe I would just do one that doesn't go with these pants, you know? So the one thing I'm going to do about my scout this time is make it longer, because I've tried to wear that thing 3 times in the past week and I can't. I even had it on today. It's too short with all my pants, you know? It's just too short. And my pants are kind of higher. So I want to definitely make it longer because I love that scout. So yeah, cool. All right, you guys. Well, I'll see you Saturday. Have a great rest of your week. Happy sewing. Hang in there. Keep safe. Stay at home. Don't eat too much sugar. I don't know. Just have a good time. Be nice to yourself. So, all right. See you guys.